Yeah, if you guys made it through all the episodes this weekly on the weekly show, I appreciate it. As always, Dave and I, we always appreciate your time and all that stuff. So let's get right into it. Before we started recording today, there was reports of a plane flying over Washington, D.C. by the White House, and it was shot down, I believe. It was some kind of Cessna airplane.
So small personal aircraft?
Yes. And probably. I think this just details wonderfully about, we talked earlier in the week about how Joe Biden appears weak, or we don't want to appear weak, and all these things. And yeah, I mean, I almost wonder if they had shit to shoot it out of the sky. They just didn't, like the White House probably got stuff that folds out like out of a comic book superhero movie or something. But I just think it was worth mentioning because you never know nowadays. We lived through 9/11. We were the 9/11 generation. And I don't think we should take it lightly that people are just flying the airplane over the president's house. It's not supposed to happen.
No.
So. My friends and I were laughing the other day, David. David, did you know what June is? Like what's symbolic about June when it comes to celebrations?
Pride Month?
Men's Mental Health Month.
Oh, no. That's if you're laughing about it, I can see why, because those two things are
Men's Health Month overall, actually, not even mental health.
Yeah. There's a lot of poor mental health in Pride Month.
It's kind of weird how those things butt up in the same month.
But also, Ryan, Juneteenth.
All in 1 month. Look at that. Mm-hmm. It's like the level of convenience of socialism.
It's packed month, Ryan. We're going to be busy all month. We're going to be busy personally.
Joe Rogan posted a picture of him interviewing Joe Biden after the fall.
Wait, hold on. I saw the picture. He posted it?
Yeah, Rogan, the thing I sent you was from Joe
hilarious.
Rogan. Yeah. He said the internet is the greatest, worst thing that has ever happened.
That's amazing. So great.
Fucking great. That's why I love the internet. It wins every day.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I didn't realize Joe Rogan posted that.
Yeah. All right, David, I'm going to get to a little something here. It's like a pre-December tainment. I spent some time listening to Chris Williamson this week. I come on and tell you guys almost every week about him at this point because he's so incredible, and the content he's got over there is awesome on Modern Wisdom on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, I've definitely heard about him from you.
Yeah, the point is I listened to one about dopamine detoxing.
Interesting.
And it was from like a year ago, so it was when things were winding down from the pandemic and all that stuff, and when all the people were on our devices and anxiety and all these things are high. And it was very interesting. I listened to the whole thing. It's like an hour and some odd change. Obviously, I always tell you guys I do multiple things while I'm listening, so I'm like busy and stuff. So I can't absorb everything, but I get a good, fair gist of it. The point of me bringing it up is I actually had a news article come across my feed this week about dopamine detoxing, and they started talking about the benefits and among other things, and if it's real and if it works. And something I thought that was interesting about the article in particular was they interviewed a psychiatrist, which is people who deal with obviously like the mind and mental health, things like that. But they didn't reference any biologists, which dopamine is a biological thing secreted in your brain. So this is like kind of like the whole alien conversation that you always hear people talk about it, but they're not physicists or they're not people that can understand space-time continuums and things. And they're doing the same thing with the dopamine detox. So that's my main bitch with the article, because they were like trying to downplay it.
Like compared to the effectiveness of it?
Yes, because the things that I listened to on Chris Williamson, who's an independent podcaster that interviewed an actual doctor in long form content that she was able to specifically reference like, you know what I mean? That the reason why we consume this stuff is to get that analytical. And even if it doesn't affect me, dopamine detox is super important, which is why I clicked it, obviously. It's probably a powerful skill, something to incorporate into my routine, right? All these things. So it wasn't like I seek this information. So I paid attention. And the things that woman said in the podcast not contradicted the article, but the article really tried underselling how powerful dopamine detox could be when you compare it to the woman in the Chris Williamson article.
What is the general, what's like the gist? Give me a rundown on what that is.
Dopamine detox is basically this. Dopamine people classify it as the feel-good chemical in your brain. Okay.
Sure.
Andrew Huberman has a whole Huberman Lab, like 3-hour podcast about this and why dopamine's important. And basically, dopamine.
It's the chemical that's released when you do things like
that is rewarding.
Right. You laugh, smile, whatever. It's
smoke. Well, everything, right? Smoking, food can do it. TV, screens. They're all dopamine hits, and there's varying degrees of dopamine. And like the point of dopamine, basically, if you listen to enough people and you do your own research enough and listen to these doctors in long form discussions like Andrew Huberman on YouTube, they tell you that the purpose of dopamine is to keep you engaged with the world so that you don't give up on the task that you want to accomplish. Which, if you back to biology, this is why I bring this up about the Time article, because if you think about biology, when our ancestors were hunting a saber-toothed tiger 1,000 million years ago or whatever, they wouldn't. Why wouldn't you just turn around and run away? Being hungry isn't good enough if you can collect berries, right? Like if you can eat other food, why would you hunt the tiger still, right? So I'm oversimplifying this, obviously, but that's basically the idea is that this dopamine, after you kill it, the rush alone is enough for your body to be like, yeah, we're doing this, right? And when you look at your brain and the way you develop habits, your brain, I've heard this from a doctor, but your brain is like a mound of snow. And every time you do something, it's like a sled goes through and carves a little path in the snow. And the more you do that habit, the deeper that groove gets, which is why it's so hard to change habits.
Right. And a lot of addiction is rooted in this too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. And it's rooted in the dopamine because dopamine, when you get into drugs and drugs like alcohol and opiates in particular, release and share the same receptor or something in your brain. So that's why a lot of people that are alcoholic you have to be careful because they can get addicted to opiates very easily and vice versa. Right. So if you have alcoholism in your family, which is genetic, we know that now, it's genetic. You have to worry about that personally, about opiates. And that goes with doctors. And they give you, I've been put to sleep, right? And that I didn't know after, but that was fentanyl, right? Mm-hmm. And in the grand scheme of things, it took me longer to wake up. And that's probably because my family's history with these drugs, right? So the point, and I know this is long-winded, but you have to discuss it and people have to understand this. And I encourage people to look into this because when you start realizing why your mind tells you to do the things you're doing, you realizing that you're just the slave of your own choices, really.
So what's the detox though? What's that part of it?
So the detox is basically like you try to consciously step away from things, right, that give you dopamine, or you do things because dopamine is like it's like it's not this thing that's infinite. Okay, when you have a dopamine high, the higher the high, the lower the low, right? This is what they tell you about drugs. That's how dopamine works. So when you experience this high rush of dopamine, like from porn or drugs or alcohol or pop or a TV show or a video game, any of those things all release dopamine, Facebook video. I also heard the woman say that you get dopamine watching somebody react to something, which is why you're like, why would anybody watch somebody play video games? Right, on YouTube, mm-hmm. There's streamers. You're like, why? The person watching gets dopamine.
Sure.
Their brain is telling them it's rewarding. And I'm not to judge, right? But it's just, once again, if you're doing this and you know you're getting dopamine from just watching useless bullshit, you're like, why am I doing that? And you'll stop. It's way easier to stop when you know. I'm not perfect. This is why I listen to this, right, David? This is why I search this information. It's like, it's helping me understand myself and have a better life and all these things. Then I got to read articles that contradict doctors. But the dopamine detox is stepping back, realizing, noticing how much you use your phone. I heard some things that people put grayscale on their phones so that there's no colors because the colors will release dopamine. They'll make you want to scroll more.
Well, it's interesting. I can show you
very in-depth things. But the dopamine detox is like letting your dopamine go back to baseline and under baseline and level out before you start experimenting with movies, television, food. And obviously, this is if you think you have a problem. Everybody should probably practice this. Our children need to know this because they're going to be on devices more than we are in the grand scheme of things. This is a skill we have to teach our grandchildren as well, our children, everybody. Because being on devices isn't healthy. Sedentary isn't healthy. We know these things. We see all the talk of body positivity and all this. They want you fat, dumb, and stupid. I'm not the World Health Organization, and these people said it, not me.
Sure.
and they keep you on their devices. They keep you on these things. And a lot of people, the dopamine detox then got into TikTok Brain, the podcast. And that's basically that the people that are watching TikTok all day, you think you're getting information from this, but you're not, because your body is your mind is being so flooded with dopamine that you really don't retain anything. Like out of the 80 minutes or the 8 hours you watch TikTok, you get like 2% of the information you retain. And it's just like proving that you're not watching TikTok because it's entertaining. Like you don't enjoy this. Your body is just being triggered. These apps spend millions of dollars to keep you on their devices. It's human psychology, knowing biology, and then reverse engineering it to use it against you. So it was interesting. Podcast was amazing. This article is very interesting. And granted, people could be wrong and right on both sides or whatever. I don't care. But David, as always, I've always talked about, I've gone in the modern era with no smartphone like 3 different times for like a month at a time. And it's not that I'm better. I was an idiot, broke my phone, but it helped me reset some of that maybe in hindsight,
Sure.
But very cool. Most importantly, just be conscious, be self-conscious. I have a notification personally that sends my weekly screen time to me. And I can click, this is already through my iPhone. They do it for you. You don't have to download anything. It's in like your health or whatever.
I tried doing this before on my phone, and it's very difficult to find on Android.
It's very simple on on iPhone. So.
For what it's worth, I don't know why that would be, but
yeah, I wonder why. Maybe if we add layers of resistance, they won't look at the information to change their behavior.
It's supposedly in settings in some place or whatever, but when I looked, but it's not there, so I don't know.
Yeah, I have it sent to my phone weekly on a notification on my locks. It like pops up like a text message and everything with a sound. And I click on it. You can look at it breaks it per app, how long, the last 6 months, the last year, the last weekend. Good information. These are like actually, if you can use your smartphone, if you can have the discipline, if you can have the dopamine discipline, you can use these machines for incredible things.
Mine's probably astronomical because I'm on it for work a lot too. So on top of being on it for pleasure, I'm on it for work.
Yeah, and that dopamine is really crazy because like you get burned out with it. And when you're so overloaded with dopamine, you can't feel happiness the same. And what is a lot of people's big stink and what is their problem? Oh, I'm just not happy. I'm not.
Wait, hold on.
You're not fulfilled. Like because you've been triggered, your body keeps triggering your fulfillment things, but you're not doing stuff that actually is fulfilling. So that's why we have these problems. That's why me personally thinking this, but it's like, that's why there's these problems that people have anxiety and stuff. It's your body telling you that you're not pursuing meaningful stuff to you, which is hard to figure out.
I did find it on my new phone.
Perfect.
Let me see.
Yeah, I think I had like 3 hours a day or something. And I think that's actually like staring at the screen 3 hours a day.
For real?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm less than you.
Or maybe that's like even running in the background listening to YouTube or stuff. I don't know.
Well, mine specifically says screen time. Daily average screen time, 1 hour, 32 minutes. It's actually not too bad.
Well, that is not too bad.
Dude, I don't have fucking dopamine detox every day.
I'm off the dopamine,
fucking
son.
No dopamine over here.
And then you compare the way to actually reset your dopamine as well, and then I'll move on here, is to do hard things, literally. All the ice baths, the David Goggins, all that crazy shit they talk about, Jocko, the things they talk about, like working out, lifting heavy things.
Is that a Pride Month reference?
No, it's a Men's Health Month message, David. What they preach is like working out and stuff, right? And doing the hardest thing possible. And that actually, when you induce suffering, it can reset your dopamine receptors. And it's a way to normalize. If you're overloaded, you need to struggle so that your body feels like the things that you're doing, the things you're consuming are rewarding for the suffering. Your body, if you do one thing hard, your body wants one reward equal to the thing that's hard, right? Or 2 things hard to get 2 things. Like that's delayed gratification. And sure. I know it gets dicey, but it's interesting. It was a cool article. I'm sorry. I just think it's very important. I really do. It's really changed my life personally. Like understanding that about us. And it's also kind of like this entertainment early in the episode, which is cool. I have a personal message I want to say about AI. As AI goes moving forward, the things that we're seeing. We saw a full economy or full employment recession earlier. I think
Well,
some of that
it's coming. Could be coming, right?
some of that language, I think, is to prepare us because we also seen this week talking about human, what was it, human correspondent or whatever. That is because the rise of robots is here, and I'm not saying this nefarious like they're going to murder me. That's not a couple of years, but allegedly. But I'm just saying that because they have to start implementing these things. But I truly believe AI and robots will destroy the job market before the next election, and that will help catapult the ideas of socialism further into this country. Because I truly believe we're a corporatized communism, basically, or socialism for the rich, not the poor, right? And I think the system that's going to be created is like a corporate socialist. And what I mean by that is like we're all going to get food stamps and standard of living, and we're all going to get everything paid for. But everything that we buy is just going to be from all the big people. You're all going to buy your house from the same you're going to have 3 companies to choose from, but they own everything. You can only go to Walmart or Target. You can only go to Aldi's or Tops. You can only and then the stuff in there, you might have 7 kinds of cereal, but they're all owned by 2 companies, right? And it's kind of like how all the stimulus money just went back to Amazon and Walmart, and like people just bought useless shit they didn't need.
Yeah.
So like the wealthy only got wealthier. And I think we're going to see a part of that, and they're going to blame it, maybe not blame it, but we're going to have a scapegoat. There's got to be some kind of out group that we're going to be able to blame for why things are the way they are. And I think we're going to undersell how much robots and AI actually did it. So it's just my thought. I don't know how you feel, David, personally about all this AI stuff. I know we oversimplify it a lot here, but
Yeah. No, if we needed a scapegoat, historically speaking, the Jews are a good.
Yeah, we talked about Biden falling. That's terrible, dude.
Yeah, horrible.
Another quick thing on AI here. I got a news article sent to me. It talked about how some guy in the United States Air Force said that they were using AI controlled robots and it started killing people. It told them to stop or something. I don't really know the whole thing. The point of the story is
probably just simple miscommunication.
Yeah, they were trying to make it sound on the internet in the conspiracy world that this thing just started autonomously getting control over the human operator. And it came out that the guy made it up, or that he misquoted or misstated, or that it was bullshit.
Sure.
And this just makes, I've came on the program, talked about how they're trying to make us scared of AI so we don't use it to get rich. And I wonder if this is some of this as well. So just interesting. The debt ceiling. I know they haven't closed anything on it, but I'm just going to say it another week. I shouldn't be getting taxed if government shut down. Should be no taxes of any kind. Facebook and YouTube are operating, which is odd because they get tax revenue. So it's just really funny to me how the largest government in the history of humanity can't even pay its own bills and all that stuff. But
they shouldn't be allowed to raise it if any of their money goes outside of the country.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I'm going to say this one more time and then we'll move on from it, that you guys gave away all our money to Ukraine unanimously in one day. In like hours, you had all this stuff already. You shit out all these bills and printed millions and billions of, but you can't sign the debt ceiling so people can get back to normal and get bright. We're always hearing, right? People need food. We need your 401k, all these articles. Not that I like necessarily in using them to tear them apart, but the point is like you portray it like this thing needs to happen, but you play the politics. So the debt ceiling's been raised a shit ton. This is like the proverbial kicking the can down the road until we change these people.
Yeah,
this will happen forever. Except that we'll get to a point that it's going to be too late. We'll have too much debt or the war or culture.
Honestly, I think it's too late already. It's been too late for years.
Yeah, I know like I said, I don't agree with it, but if you're going to give away all this money, give us all the free stuff. Just fucking do it. You want to crash the government, dude, just get it over with, man. I'm tired of you stringing us all along.
What do you think adjusted for inflation, though? Is our debt any worse than it was 10 years ago?
I mean, maybe not. Maybe that's the only reason why it looks bad, right?
Is that weird? Yeah, is that a weird thought? Is it possible that it's really about the same? Wow. But global inflation is so bad that it looks worse. I just randomly, I never looked at it. It's bad regardless.
Yeah, the point. Yeah, really.
A functional country should never be negative, right?
Well,
like
yeah, you're just redefining terms to fit politics. Like you don't care. We're not looking at economy now. We're looking at the social justice economy. We're looking at the how people feel about the economy, not how the economy actually is.
Yeah, no private business could run in the negatives for 100 years. It's just not. It's not realistic.
They could if they get tax benefits and they don't pay taxes and they can claim losses, David, and they are becoming corporate communists. Like Walmart and all these other big oligopolies.
But they're not. They're profitable.
They're profitable and get tax write-offs. How fucking smart.
So win-win.
Rand Paul is not signing any debt sealant bills or anything until COVID information is released.
You shouldn't sign any, period.
I thought the same thing, and I also just thought that, like, why is nobody else talking about the COVID files?
Yeah, where are these COVID files at?
Because I could talk about that on the internet now, too.
No. I don't think so. Rumble, yes. Just because YouTube let us talk about how the election was stolen now. Thanks, YouTube.
Look, I really like Rand Paul. I love the Paul family. They've done great things for the Liberty Movement. I'm not going to shit on them and disrespect them or anything. But I know he means it, but it comes off as empty words because nobody supports this guy. I almost feel like they just go to Paul and be like, just play the libertarian line and everybody else is going to do whatever. And that's like, is that our scapegoat to be like, they're still good people. They're still good people. We're going to have one guy that believes in America in Congress and be like, well, there's that one guy. It's like, this is.
I would think it's not quite like that. I know what you're saying. And I think what it more is the Republicans keep getting people like that elected just so there's a shimmering hope for people like us, right? It's like, well, they're not all corrupt. There's Rand Paul and Thomas Massey and
Ted Cruz
and Matt Gaetz and there's Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like I can name 5-6 people that out of 500. like let's be realistic here. There's a very small minority of people who actually I think I could remotely trust.
I had a family friend. He knew my father in high school, and it got me through my political journey. I met him, and he said he took the week off work one time and went down to Albany and sat at the state legislature with Pat Galvin from Alma, and he watched it in real time, the corruption. They just openly talk about it. And he went over all the voting record on everybody in the last like 15 or 10 years in New York State politics about what they stand for, like conservatism or all these things, and what their voting record was. And he said out of all of those people, there was 3 people that you would actually vote for that were good people.
That's not surprising.
You know, which leads me into my black pill story. I went out drinking on Saturday night. Okay. Which I shouldn't have. Honestly, it was a waste of my time and everything.
Yeah, but you got to celebrate Pride.
But maybe because this story, it won't be. I bumped into somebody. I had enough drinks in me, you know. And I don't know how I talked to this. Dude's name is Mitch. He had a big beard. He was a little short, and he's a bartender himself, I think. And we started making talk, and somehow we got on everything. And I basically told him, why should I sacrifice my life, my fortune, and my sacred honor when nobody in this bar would? These people that want to reap all the benefits of everything but don't want to give up any of the sacrifices. They want to have the juicy grapes without waiting and harvesting the plant and growing it and putting it in the soil and nurturing it and going without grapes for years.
I got juicy grapes right over here.
They want all the immediate gratification with none of the delayed work that you have to do for it to pay off. They want to climb them. They want to be placed on the mountaintop instead of climb the mountaintop. But I'm supposed to climb the mountain for them. And I'm supposed to be told that it's my ordainment by God. It's a patriotic move. It's for the good. It's for Lady Liberty. It's for the Constitution. It's for the Declaration. It's for George Washington. It's for your family. It's for it's all these things. Go march for my Second Amendment right for what? So I can be put on a list of people to be targeted by the very government that I'm trying to stop. And the guy was right. He's like, you don't need to be so black-pilled. And I putting it that way, I am black-pilled. I sound black-pilled. Like I gave up. Sometimes I feel like I gave up, David. You know, and then...
Yeah, the thing is, we're not here to do this because other people do it, right? We're here to do it because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Sounds a simple way of putting it, but
yeah, and it's like, I'm not black pill that I'm gonna give up, but I've gave up on those people. Like sure. I understand that like 10% of us might make it through this, and it will be crippling. It's not going to be easy to get through this, right? The Jews wandered through the desert for 40 years or whatever. 40 days and 40 nights, I think. The point is like the amount of struggle and suffering that's going to have to happen, or whatever happens, whether it's just we just all have high inflation and full employment recession, and it's the best of the worst case scenario or the worst of it doesn't matter. We're not getting through this, and it's like I've made amends with it. I've given my oath that I would give everything and I'd lay my life down for the country as if I was a soldier and all this. But it's like for these people at the bar that don't appreciate us. Now, granted, I'm in the worst place ever to be introspectively talking about the quality of human beings in the world that you should be fighting. And there's probably murderers and child molesters in the fucking bar, or something. And the guy reminded me of me, though. Because he just stayed optimistic. He's like, I'm fighting for my family and stuff. He didn't have any kids. He didn't have a girlfriend or wife, and he was like, I'm fighting for the family I don't have because it's the right thing to do. And I guess that was what makes a man, right, Dave?
Sure. Yeah, doing the hard things just because they need to be done.
Yeah, Alex Hormozy has a line that I've been reciting to myself, and I will do what is required. And this is what hard feels like. So I will do that every day if I have to. But it's just interesting. It kind of grounded me a little bit. It was funny that I ran into a guy like myself that was willing to talk religion, politics, and history in public at the bar while he was all soft up. At one point, I pulled my shoe off. I was like, I'm supposed to give this person this, but they won't give me a look. They won't even look at me. They won't acknowledge me. They won't ask me my name. But they want my shoe. Maybe I was too drunk. Anyways, I got one little thing other than I already told you guys about December Saintainment with Chris Williamson and everything else. And I encourage you to check out his podcast. I tell you guys every freaking week about it. Excuse me. I also listened to Mark Bell's podcast, who is a power lifter.
Okay.
And he had a podcast about like reinventing yourself. And they were just going over scenarios that as you age, it doesn't mean that you can't keep getting better. I've been spending a lot of time in this content. I know I tell you guys about it all the time, and it's just like a way to stay on the path myself. But I also want to share parts of my journey with everybody so that we can all grow together. I listened to that. I'm almost done with Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. I got about 30 pages left, so that's awesome. I'll be graduating to a different book from there. And that actually leads me to my next point, which is something I was not like going through personal stuff. But I was going through personal stuff. And I don't know. I guess I'll share this story as well. Might as well do triple story time this week. Because I wrote something. I sent it to a buddy of mine. Because I felt like he needed to hear it or something. It was like just a feeling I had. And then I ended up sending it to a few other people to see what they thought and share their reflections with it and stuff. And it's cool. So I think I'll share it with you guys. And it's because of what I've talked about in this program about bookstores. So... Yo, bro, happy Friday. Little story for you. The other day, I had some free time. I just dropped my daughter off with my mother. I wouldn't be seeing her till later. And my week was coming to a close with her. So I was kind of feeling down in the dumps. So instead of feeling sorry for myself, I decided to do something. And that was go to Barnes & Noble. I walked around the bookstore for like 30 minutes, looking at different books, trying to relax and find peace within my day. I bought a couple books and left. I actually bought the Federalist Papers. Wonderful.
Excellent.
Like a nice, thick, like leather bound. It didn't hit me till days later that at the time I was seeking something to comfort me. Normally, it's easy to sedate them feelings with screen time or eating, drinking, or any distraction to keep the thoughts away. But it's now I see. I went to the bookstore because there's knowledge there. Knowledge from the greatest thinkers of all time and from all walks of life. Everything I've ever needed to set me free was within books older than me, stacked in volumes that filled the shelves. And now I see the wholeness in my pursuit. I spontaneously went to the bookstore because I needed advice from those that couldn't speak. I needed steps and help from rulers and politicians, from presidents and businessmen. It was truly the first time in my life that I looked at those higher up on the mountain for guidance. And since that day, a peace has been washed over me, as if I know it will become what I will it to be. All the good and all the bad are a few words away from disappearing. My perspective to see new opportunities are only a few pages away. In a way, I feel like reading has saved my life and leveling me up at the same time. So I just thought I'd share that no matter how alone you are, just remember that millions of people have lived and breathed, and some of them left us the greatest works in literature to help us get it through. Their ability to speak through time has changed my life, my mind, and my spirit. So grab a book, Mike, and start reading. Might just change your life. Love you, brother. Hope you have an awesome day. Thanks for listening and always being there. So yeah, I don't know, I guess I'll wrap it there. I had an awesome week, Dave. Thank you for everything as always. I appreciate your time, appreciate your patience, appreciate your counsel. I appreciate our viewers. You guys can catch us Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern for the weekly show on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. Dave and I will be there as always. Yeah, thanks again, Dave. I'll see you later, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
Oh, I also really dig the outside studio.
Yeah, it's great. It's really bright in here considering how dark it is outside. The lights have been tremendous.
You're gonna need a bug net in front of you because you're gonna attract mosquito.
No, dude, I got zapper off to that.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't hear any getting zapped.
Oh, you got a barbecue maker.
Yeah.
Don't
hit hard.
Don't kill a squirrel, brother. I'm out of here, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.